Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. So today we have a battle against Ray, a competitive battler we got off of Discord. So he is still making his selection right there. So yeah, as we wait for him, there we go. So, looking at his team on the side there, looks to be pretty strong, pretty well balanced, pretty original too, which is kind of cool. Looking at my team, it is the same one that I've been using the past several games here. So, what do I want to lead with in this one? That is a good question. I think we're just gonna go with the Tinkaton in this one. And we'll go ahead and see how that works out. So, here we go. Raymond from the Discord server, as some would say. Alright. So, it looks like he is going to go ahead and lead with the Grafii as we led with the Tinkaton. So that's actually pretty good for us. We do get the Mold Breaker coming into play here, which is nice. So it's pretty good for us because we do have a resistance or an immunity to both this thing's stab moves. I don't know if he's going to want to really set up right out of the gate here, so I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go for a knockoff here. He probably won't stay in, and indeed he just goes for the U-turn straight away. I'm not going to do too much damage to us, but he is going to get the pivot, of course, and we'll see what he wants to come in with here. To face the Tinkaton, it is going to be the Dondozo, kind of as I expected here as we go for the knockoff. Going to do a little bit of chip to this thing and get rid of its assault vest, which is pretty useful. And then we are going to regain some HP with the leftovers. So we definitely don't want to stay on this matchup. There's not a whole lot we can do to the Dondozo, so our best switch is going to be the Arboleva, so we're just going to go straight into that and see what he wants to do here. So there it is, and he is just going to go for an Earthquake straight away, so that's going to do barely nothing to us, as it is going to activate our Seed Sower to set the grassy terrain on the battlefield, and then both of us are going to regain some HP with the grassy terrain, and we're also going to get some HP back with the leftovers. So we're in an interesting situation here. I don't expect him to want to stay in on this matchup at all. He does have some good switches into the Arboleva. I think, how do we want to play this here? He has a few different options that he could go for. I think we're just going to go for the Hyper Voice here, anticipating a switch out, and he is indeed going to go for the switch. So he's going to go ahead and come in with the Vivillon, which is actually fine for us. We go for the Hyper Voice here, and that is going to knock this thing all the way into the red, which is great damage, obviously. Unfortunately, it does survive. So in this situation, I don't really want to take a big shot from this thing with the Arboleva, as it looks extremely useful for most of his team here. So, although he could definitely take this opportunity to try and set up potentially if we do switch out. So this is going to be a little bit of a difficult decision for us to make here. Arboleva does look useful against most of his team, but at the same time I don't really want to give him that opportunity to set up here. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually... This is a tough one. I think we're just going to go for an Energy Ball, actually, as he is going to, unfortunately, just make the obvious play and go for the Hurricane. He does hit the Hurricane, and that knocks us all the way down to 33 HP in the red. We do survive, go for the energy ball in return, and that will finish off the Pavilion and knock him down to 5, so that's good news for us, but unfortunately we took a whole lot of damage on the Arboleva that I didn't want to take, but it kind of just is what it is, as we do get some HP back with the terrain and the leftovers, which is good. So we'll see what he wants to bring in response to that. It is going to be the Mimikyu, so that's definitely bad news for us. So I think what we really have to do here is, obviously this thing still has its disguise up, so we have to pretty much just stay in here and go for the energy ball to break the disguise. So that's what we're going to do. He is actually just going to go for the play rough straight away, not wanting to mess around with this thing anymore. And that is going to get rid of the Arboleva and knock us down to 5, as he does take some life orb damage and then get some HP back with the grassy terrain. So I think our definite switch here is going to be the Tinkaton once again, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to come in with that, and we do get the Mold Breaker coming into play again. Now he's probably not going to want to stay in on this matchup here, so he does still have the Disguise active, obviously. So I think, how do we want to play this here? I don't think he's going to want to stay in. He has a pretty obvious switch back into the Dondozo, so how do we want to play this? I think we just go for we probably just go for the Gigaton Hammer. That's probably our safest bet, so we're just going to do that, as he actually is going to stay in, which is interesting, and he's going to go ahead and pop his Terra, and let's see what he's going to turn into. He's going to Terrastallize into a Fire type, so that's pretty interesting play on his side. Definitely didn't see that coming for sure, as he is going to outspeed us and go for a Terra Blast Fire, so that's bad news. He is going to hit us up with that, and we actually can thankfully hang on with 14 HP in the red off of that. He is going to take some damage from the Life Orb. We are going to go for the Gigaton Hammer in return, and thanks to Mold Breaker, it is actually going to go through the Disguise, but it is not nearly going to be enough to take him out, as we are going to get some HP back from the leftovers in the terrain. He's also going to get some HP back from the terrain, and the terrain is going to go away. So yeah, we're definitely not in a great spot against this thing, unfortunately. Now, how do we want to play this is the question. If we assume he's going to go for a Terra Blast Fire again, we could definitely try to switch out to save the Tinkaton, although I don't know that that's really a risk that I want to make at this point. So, how do we want to play this? Yeah, I think Terraing was definitely bad news for us. I feel like even so, we still probably just switch to the Pseudo Wudo. I think that's probably our best bet, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and switch to save the Tinkaton for later as fodder, if nothing else. And we're going to switch directly into the Pseudo Wudo here. As he is going to go for a Shadow Sneak, trying to take us out, so that's not going to do too much damage to the Pseudo Wudo, a little bit of chip. He does take some Life Orb recoil there, and then we are going to get some HP back with the leftovers. So he still has the Disguise up, unfortunately, so that's not great. I think the best thing we can do here, we could pop a Terra of our own, although I don't know how useful that is going to be for this matchup. We could take, because we do resist the Terra Blast, obviously, in our current state. So we know he has Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Terra Blast Fire. So I think our safest play here is just going to be to go for the Earthquake, so that's what we're going to do. He is actually going to go for the switch to save the Mimikyu for later, and he's going to go ahead and switch directly into the Sylveon, which is kind of fine as we go for the Earthquake. That is going to go ahead and do a little bit of chip to the Sylveon, not too much though, as he is then going to get some HP back with the leftovers. And we are also going to get some HP back with the leftovers here. So we probably don't want to stay in on this matchup here. Unfortunately, we don't have the best of switches to Sylveon anymore. We'll with the Tinkaton being so weakened. We might have to just switch into the Tinkaton as fodder at this point, so that we can get a clean switch into something else. That might be what we have to do here. So, yeah, I think, unfortunately, that might be the play. I mean, we could switch into the Talonflame, but the problem with that is if we take an attack, it's going to break our Gale Wings, obviously, which is going to be bad news. But that might be the only play we have. I think that's probably going to be what we have to do. So yeah, we're gonna switch to the Talonflame, actually, predicting either the Fairy move or something along those lines, perhaps a setup move. So we're going to come in with the Talonflame here, as he is going to go for a Yawn, so that is not great. That's going to go ahead and put us to sleep next turn, although it is good in the sense that we do get to keep our Gale Wings intact. So he's going to go ahead and get some HP back with the leftovers. And now in this situation, I think the best play is definitely just going to be go straight for the Choice Band U-turn, so that's what we're going to do. He might not want to stay in, fearing that we could take him out with a Brave Bird or something. But we'll see how he wants to play it. So hopefully he's not carrying Protect, as he is carrying Protect, so that sucks. So he's going to go for the Protect, and unfortunately that is going to block our U-turn, which means that we're going to be forced to stay in and go to sleep. So that's actually terrible. Him carrying Protect there really screwed us. So he's going to stall out Leftovers Recovery, and then we are going to go to sleep here. So that's very bad news, obviously. I think the only thing we can do in this situation is we have to switch out. So I think the best thing we can do is probably just switch directly into the Tinkaton, so that's what we're going to do. So we know he has Yawn, Protect. He might have Wish, we don't know. It looks like he's staying in, though. Might have a setup move of some sort. So we're going to switch back in with the Tinkaton. We get the Mold Breaker coming into play, as he's actually going to switch out as well. And he's going to go ahead and come back in with the... well, he's going to come in with the Tatsugiri, actually, which is interesting. So we are going to get some HP back with the Leftovers here, which is good news. So he was trying to bring the Tatsugiri in for free, probably to set up on us. So I think our best play here, we have a couple options. We can either knock off or Gigaton Hammer. I think knockoff might be the better play, so we're just going to go knockoff here, as he actually outspeeds us, which is a little bit of a surprise. He just goes straight for the Hydro Pump, and that's just going to knock us out and knock us down to 4, so that's kind of unfortunate. Little surprised he outsped there. He has to be either max speed investment or choice in some way in order to outspeed us, so I think our best bet at this point is going to be to go ahead and come in with the Greninja, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So I think he may not want to stay in on this matchup. He does have some switches, so he might want to switch to the Sylveon here potentially. But I think we can't really take a chance. We could go either Dark Pulse or Ice Beam. I feel like it's Ice Beam is probably the safest play, so we're just going to do that, as he actually stays in, which is interesting. Protean going to change us to an Ice type. We hit the Ice Beam on this thing, which takes it down all the way to a quarter, but he does survive, unfortunately. He goes for the Rapid Spin, which is going to do a little bit of chip damage to us and increase his speed. So that's bad news, because he may well actually outspeed us now. Now that the Rapid Spin is going to increase his speed, so this is kind of bad news for us here. How do we want to play this? He could very well outspeed us now, so that would be really bad if he did. How do we want to play this? Because Greninja could potentially... I don't know how useful Greninja could be against the rest of his team, though. This is a tough choice, actually. He could very well outspeed us after that Rapid Spin. I feel like we have to stay in, unfortunately. We don't really have a switch out right now, so we're just going to stay in and click Ice Beam again here, as he does outspeed us now. That's really unfortunate. goes for the Draco Meteor and takes us out. So that is extremely unfortunate for us. That's going to take our Greninja out and knock us down to 3. So that is really bad news for us. Definitely not looking great right now. I think we pretty much only have... We might only have one potential shot right now. And that might be to go to the well one more time with our Poltegeist. So that's what we're going to do. So I think that's going to be the play. So we're going to go ahead and come in with the Poltegeist here. And so I think the only chance we have at this point is we have to try and Shell Smash up here. With this thing at -2 special attack, it shouldn't be doing too much damage to us. So we're going to go Shell Smash. He actually goes for the Memento, so he's got that on deck too. So that's really unfortunate. He's going to harshly cut our stats with that. So that is terrible news for us, because that is going to actually... actually, no, it's not the end of the world, because we're just going to go ahead and restore our stats with the White Herb. I almost forgot about the White Herb there. So actually that works out pretty well for us, because the White Herb is going to go ahead and put our stats back to neutral, and then we're going to go ahead and get that Shell Smash, which is going to drop our defenses and give us those sharp attack, special attack, and speed increases. So that actually does work out relatively well for us. So now he's going to go ahead and come back in with the Mimikyu. So in this situation, we're going to go ahead and try and pop our strategy off. We're going to try this one more time here. We're going to go ahead and pop our Terra Terastallizing into a fighting type, so that we will not take super effective damage from the Shadow Sneak. And we're going to go ahead and... He still has the Disguise up, unfortunately, but we're pretty much all in on the Poltegeist at this point. So this is the third time we're trying this here. Let's hope it works. We're going to go ahead and Terastallize the Poltegeist into a pure fighting type, losing our weakness to the Ghost, which hopefully he will go for the Shadow Sneak here, as we do outspeed him, obviously. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball, and unfortunately, because he still has the Disguise intact, that is going to bust the Disguise. He is going to survive, and he didn't go for the Shadow Sneak here, as he's going to go for the Terra Blast instead. Terra Blast Fire, and we cannot, unfortunately, off of a critical hit, we cannot survive that. I don't know if the crit mattered or not. It may well have, since we were at full HP. So that is just awful, as now he's going to go ahead and take some more Life Orb damage. So that was a very unfortunate turn of events for us, as now we go down to 2. So we're definitely in a really bad spot right now. And yeah, there's not much else to say other than that. So we're going to come in with the Pseudo Wudo here. We know this thing can't do a whole lot to the Pseudo Wudo, so I guess the best thing we can do here, we could Sucker Punch, but there's not much of a point. We're just going to Earthquake here, as he's going to go for the Play Rough, and that's going to knock us down a little below half. He does get the attack drop too, which is unfortunate. He is going to take some Life Orb damage there. He barely survives the Life Orb recoil as we go for the Earthquake, which is finally going to get rid of the Mimikyu and knock him down to, I believe, 4. But yeah, we are just in a pretty awful spot regardless of that. Although getting rid of the Mimikyu finally is something, but that thing really put a hole in our team that we might not be able to recover from. So yeah, we get some HP back with the leftovers, and now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Dondozo. And yeah, there's not much to do for us at this point in the game. Really the only thing we can do, I should say it knocks him down to 3. So yeah, the only thing we can really do here is just Sucker Punch, so that's what we're going to do. Get some chip damage as a last-ditch effort, does barely any damage. He's going to go for the Wave Crash in return here, and obviously that will take the Pseudo Wudo out and knock us down to just 1 Pokemon, as he is going to take some recoil damage there from the Wave Crash. So unfortunately, our last Pokemon here is going to be the Talonflame, and we are asleep. So yeah, we're pretty much done at this point. Our only hope here is that we can get a turn 1 Wake Up, and that the Brave Bird is enough to KO him, which even if we do get the turn 1 Wake Up, I kind of doubt it will be, but that's really all we can do. So unfortunately, we don't get the turn 1 Wake Up, as we remain asleep, and he is just going to go for the Wave Crash here, and that is obviously going to one-shot the Talonflame. and that is going to be game, as he does survive the recoil damage there. So, yeah, that is going to be game. So we are going to lose that one 3-0 to Ray. That was a pretty good match, though. Pretty competitive for the most part. Definitely a little bit of luck hurt us in that one, but also I think we were a little outmatched on paper in that game as well. But still a pretty solid one, nonetheless. So that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. Also, this is going to be the last match that I post with this team. I did have fun using it, and it worked out pretty well for me. Not quite as well as I would have liked, but still worked out all right, I suppose. But as is always the case, I am going to be putting it to the side, and starting next time, I am going to have one more brand new team for you guys. So stay tuned for that. That's it, and we'll see you next time.